Aloys, let's start with this question. How far have you come since your debut against, I'll try and pronounce it, Mikhail Sochinowski?
Yeah, said it well. I've come so much of a long way. As a character, as a fighter, as a man, I've come such a long way, and yeah, I'm sure it shows in my performances. I'm sure it shows in my interviews, and yeah, I emanate my changes all throughout my life.
Tell me what it was like when you first got the call from Frank Queensberry to sign for them. What was that feeling like?
The first time I got called from Queensberry and getting signed to him, I was very happy. I was very excited. I felt like despite my loss, I still felt like I displayed a lot of character and a lot of will. Despite how young I was 18 years old then. So yeah, it was a very good experience. I'm honoured and I'm grateful to be one of a Frank Warren fighter.
What was it like when you were suffering that loss so early on, and how has that helped you to progress as both a man and as a fighter?
In terms of that loss and how it's helped me or changed me or whatever impact it had on myself, I would say number one, boxing experience. You know, you may come into a fight and it may not go to the way you plan it, and that's like life. Like, you may go into life and may think this is how life is, and then you realize it's not, and you got to be open, and you got to accept whatever you need to accept and just execute it accordingly. In terms of boxing, I would say what I learnt in the ring that night was, listen, I can push. Despite if I'm fatigued, I have resilience. I won't accept I wouldn't surrender. I'll always go out on my shield, and I always push to my very limit. And I showed that.
Is there a freedom that comes with having that loss so early? Because you see a lot of fighters nowadays, this Mayweather era sort of thing, about how scared people are of having a loss. Is there a certain freedom that comes with kind of almost like getting out of the way?
Well, in terms of saying freedom when you have a loss, I still wouldn't say so, because again, no one wants to lose. Like, I'm a risk taker regardless, so I would always take risks. And as I age, as the more I understand, the more I become a man, I just try to make calculated risks that make sense. But yeah, it's I can understand.
When we came in here today, saw you playing chess. Apparently you're the king of chess at the Ben Davison Performance Centre. Are you a risk taker on the board?
On the chessboard, I'm a calculated risk taker. So, for instance, to be honest, it's like in boxing. You want to think like steps ahead. So, for instance, if he does this, okay, I'm gonna do this. It's like strategizing, you know. Like anything, before you go to a battle, before you go to a war, you want to have strategies. You want to have, if he does this, I do this. If he does this, I do this. And you want to have answers. You want to have principles set out, so you're not surprised in the ring. You know, there's particular principles you have to follow for, depending on what style and what the opponent is using. So chess is a very good way to work on my mind, to work on handling myself, and to be able to increase my critical thinking.
Which boxers have you beaten at chess? What's your, have you got like a pound for pound list of?
To be honest, I haven't met a lot of fighters that are well at chess, to be fair. Some of them are okay. But I wouldn't want to name their names. I'll keep that under the wraps.
Anyone you're targeting?
I'll see. I ain't got no targets at this moment in time. Whoever, like, I'm always up for a challenge. That's one thing I am always up for, a challenge. I love to challenge myself, and if you're good, I feel like I'm good as well, so we can test ourselves.
What do you reckon, the best chess player at the Queensberry stable?
I believe so. I honestly believe I'm the best chess player in the Queensberry stable.
We'll have to sort out a tournament.
I would love to do that. Chess boxing, you know.
Yeah, perfect. They got that at some universities, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
by the time this goes out, this fight would have taken place. But I know you've been sparring Joshua Buatsi in the build-up to his fight with Dan Aziz. Talk to me about that experience. What's that been like? And
so in terms of the sparring with Joshua Buatsi in the first camp, the first fight he had before, very, very well. It was a great experience for myself. Someone faster, someone's more lighter. So again, you have to adapt because I'm a big guy. I'm very strong, but in terms of speed, a cruiserweight won't match the light heavyweight, or a middleweight won't match a welterweight. So it's very good to get someone faster, so you can understand how to move, increase your timing, cutting the ring off because they're not going to stand there, But yeah, it was a very good experience, and I learned so much from that.
Two more people you've been in the ring with, Billum Smith, Daniel Dubois. What have you learned from them? Two very different boxers.
Yeah, Chris Billum Smith and Daniel Dubois, they're two different boxers. Yeah, one's like Daniel Dubois is a mammoth of a man. He's very, very strong. He punches like an ox. To be honest, me sparring Daniel Dubois at 16 years old just displays my character and how much of a risk taker I was, because his coach wasn't accepting me to spar him. I even got £200, 50 quid a round. So at that stage of my life, when I was 16 years old, I was a millionaire, mate. So in terms of Daniel Dubois, what could I take away? I would say for me that really installed I could take on anyone. If I could go in the ring with Daniel Dubois and I could do 6 rounds with him, I'm going in the ring with anybody, because there's no one I haven't met someone that punches harder than him. Like his jab was like a right hand. And in terms of Chris Billum Smith, I've sparred Chris Billum Smith a lot of times, more than 6 times. I've shared a lot of rounds with him, and every single sparring session's experience, and I can see myself getting better and better and better. So he's a world champion, he's a world champion, and
learning about where you want to be. Right?
Exactly, he's good, and I'm sure I could be better. I'm sure that I could be great. Not knocking him off, but I just know my potential. I'm 20 years old, and I'm contesting, I'm competing. So I know my potential.
Still so young, right? There's a domestic rivalry that's kind of, you said your age now, both of you are very, very young, both Queensberry fighters, Tommy Fletcher. When do you envisage that fight kind of happening? We seem to be on this collision course already.
Well, me and Tommy Fletcher, we go back to amateur days, we was in the England squad together. I went up a year to combat some of the other big lots, and obviously Tommy Fletcher was a year older than me. So I met him in the England squad. We did some rounds in amateurs, and it was a good experience. So I've always seen him about. It was always been cool, innit? Because he was a light heavyweight, I was a cruiserweight, so there was nothing you're not my competitor. But at the moment, he got signed to Queensberry, and the moment he got signed to Queensberry, he's food now, and I could see him later on in my career. I could see him in the next year or so. To be honest, it could happen by the end of this year. I'm not too sure, but it would be a very good fight. It'd be very entertaining for the fans, and you're guaranteed to see a knockout.
He's a powerful puncher. Does that worry you at all?
Worry me. Don't be a comedic.
This place is buzzing at the minute. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is training here. What's that been like for you, having that experience?
Well, it's an honour to be with an individual like Anthony Joshua in the gym. He's a great. He will definitely go down as a great heavyweight. And I just pick his brain. I do my absolute best to pick his brain and just understand how it is to be in his position, and what it takes to be in his position. Because you don't have a lot of great people like this around. So when you have them, even if you can get 1% of their greatness, what's wrong with that? Sometimes I get kicked out of the gym because I'm not meant to be here, but I still come and sneak back and try to get this knowledge.
Brilliant. What's your relationship like with Ben? I know that we see a lot of fighters talking very highly of him. What's your relationship like?
Ben is a phenomenal coach. Tactical wizard. He understands the sport. He's definitely spent more than 10,000 hours on this, studying the sport, and he can literally break it down to you in the smallest of fragments. We have a good relationship. We gel, and yeah, man, it's a good relationship. You know, he's helping me to be better, and I appreciate that.
What's your aim for 2024, or aims?
To be honest, me myself, in terms of my aim, I want a strap, I want a belt. I don't know what belt it is, but I want something, you know, because I'm hungry. I dedicate myself every single day in the gym. I don't know who it could be. We'll speak to my team, but I want something. You know, I want to do something this year.